So this poem is, I guess some of you would know that I was a pigeon rehabber for some years. If people had dented birds that needed help, they brought them to me, and I would. So that was going on at a time when I personally wasn't doing particularly well. I was in a kind of a abject state, so I gravitated to abject birds who needed my attention, rescued birds, who ended up kind of rescuing me, as can happen. This poem is partly about that. Our album is up on Bandcamp as of today, and there thank you, and we've described it as being about pigeons, odd-mindedness, and hope, which pretty well says it. So, there are 4 different speakers in this poem. 3 of them are pigeons, and 1 of them is a human. The human's Lady, called Lady, the lady. The first one you'll hear is Happy. Happy the Mystic is one of the pigeons, the first one you'll hear. Then there's Beckett the Scientist. She's the second pigeon you'll hear. And then Spooky the Veteran. And then Spooky also has some ghost pigeons. He's like one guy, but he's also the ghosts of dead service birds. So I think that's our cast of characters. Do I need to tell you much else? I don't think so. Wait, one thing. There's a motto that you'll hear a couple of times in the poem. Courage, loyalty, and endurance. This was a motto of the pigeoneers, the military guys who raised the pigeons that were messengers during the First and Second World Wars and other wars. I think that's about all the super important info. I'm anxious to get to the poem. Thank you again for being here, and thanks to Kim and Julie for their beautiful opening set. All right, this is called Rock Dove. A woman wears a murmuration underneath her clothes. Storms of starlings scoring chord lines where her blood veins flow. And covens of rock doves carrying love notes, bearing her heart back home. And larks still bravely singing fly. We thought of her then as an exiled queen from legends back when we were allies, or a sorceress casting meticulous spells aloud. We knew she spent most of her time alone, consumed by complicated rituals of great significance to someone. First person singular doesn't exist in our language, being too hypothetical to be useful. Yet she calls your humble servant her special little one. Sing songs with this given name more times than is seemly. Sings she'll always take care of Happy. She promises this. For a time, it was the only name she spoke who knew her heart. Had she always been kept here like this, in this prison fortress, or hadn't there been a time before when she played a different role? For how many incarnations had she been tethered to a pole and set on fire by close foes or secret admirers? Our own people had once been more loved than we find ourselves today. We know how it changes the way a body behaves in public, needing to know if those who approach are friends or no. There could be high drama behind any pair of eyes. Any pyrrhic footing may carry the bearer from peril just prior to our interception. Maybe missing a mate, youngsters taken by predators, returning to places of safety to find them decimated, horrors of thirst or starvation brought by dwindling environment. These concerns consume our every day, and we share every one of them with humans. I might have expected this to matter more to a greater number of your great species, though we're grateful for all who do recall how we share this planetary home together, as well as a unique history. But your voices are too scarce heard about thinning industry. Only a lunatic few take time to speak with us. There's a Spanish proverb, let there be no lack of food in the pigeon house, and the pigeons will come. It means, well, it's pretty literal, really, as proverbs go. It couldn't be stated more plainly. Feed pigeons in houses that you build for us. This wouldn't be charity. Have we no right to point out what might be owed to us? Why not resurrect dovecotes on spots now occupied by monuments to colonial tossers who ought to be ousted? A sound initiative, even an employment opportunity for any of those scattered souls who do love rocked-out company, leaving neither undesirable party to clutter your streets. Unless what's known as collective recollection in the common pigeon is peristironic solipsism, any one of our vast number possesses a more or less total recall of the last few million years, when, as we recall more or less totally, there occurred great increase in evolutionary diversification, giving rise to the some 10,000 bird species who have come into existence since the fall of mighty Archaeopteryx, praise and thanks, from whom we all blessedly descend. But here comes the sound of someone breathing in short pants. Most likely, Our Lady. Home at last. She takes off her hat, hangs it on a hook, unbuttons her coat, clears her throat, billows air up and down her damp t-shirt. She smells of urban rain, sour milk, tea biscuits, and dirt. Reaching up under there, she feels along her collarbones and finds a pull tab at the center. She tugs it downward. She unzips her sternum, and out pour rock doves, dozens and dozens and cousins and couples of them. The doves out of 1,000 gray wings adjusting airborne, scraping talons like crimson beads, breaking free of a choker and scattering everywhere, never to be gathered back up again. Not a single bird can be unborn. And this is no metaphor. Door jambs, window ledges, bookshelves, and floors are literally littered with pigeons. Billing, cooing, flapping, crapping, strutting, fretting, running, cresting, molting, nesting, dusty, musky, millet, peck, and pigeons. They became her best, then only friends. Just how this had come to pass much depends on whom you ask. At worst, no fewer than 30 birds were raising broods atop storage bins, plastering Jackson Pollock splotches across tabletops to a Hitchcockian foley of flutters, flaps, and coos. Erratic tap-tap-tapping of bony little toes, step-step-stepping over linoleum. Rock doves could observe you from above while you were in the tub or in the loo. Rock doves may be napping in your hat or in your shoes. Feel free to judge. That's partly the point of this poll. So here we find her, crouched in the corner it had taken over a decade to paint herself into, with nowhere to jump. There had been a slow severance of relations between thought and sentiment, such that she'd begun to sink, slow as sediment, deep into the abyssal zone. Oh. Her heart became a brittle crab, could only scuttle out and grab, then scurry home to pick at exoskeletons in darkness, moving mouth parts. Scarce able to feel her own heart stir, likewise had it little care left for her. It crept away beneath her bed, she seldom wondered where it went, then one night heard a muffled crick beneath her boot, like breaking a tiny Christmas light. There'd be few reasons to revisit such dark days, if not for art's sake, and with the flashlight, so that even one other creature might see her own shadow down there and feel a bit less all wrong, a bit more all right. Yeah, but 9 out of 10 voices in my head don't want to hear another peep out of me. That 10th dissenting voice has little other choice but to keep on peeping. There'd been no diagnosis for almost half a century, by which point in time it was hardly a surprise to me. It had just become too tiring trying to hide this murmuration churning inside my mind, these widening gyres under pressure of bone confined, and I'm no longer a tenable tenant to my own cranium. So I'm treading trepidatiously or facing trepanation, just paces away from the epicenter of this exploding aviary in my brain. Oh no, its pan runneth over again due to that same fatal wobble in the mechanism. Like every endeavor ever tried finds its wings at first all right until near the 11th hour with end in sight, when it suddenly veers off left, never right, or blam, gets shot down from the sky. Like some karmic snipers had my bird in sight the entire time since its genesis, just to hasten its exodus, then straight to revelations on how my goals go to hell on a regular Monday to Friday basis. But gratefully there's a name for this! Plate tectonics. And once more your hopes explode in blood-red pinwheels in the sky. You're tumbling down the stairs, dropping each and every pie. You're sliding down the snakes back to square one again. Why? Lord,